I remember someone telling me this little sort of story. Um, it might have actually been my brother. I'm not sure who was also a teacher way back. And a little thing they did with the class, and what it was the kids would come in and he would ask them. This was back in the days when nearly everyone wore watches before the days of smartphones, mobiles, and all the rest of it. So he would say, "Okay, without looking, I want you to describe the face of your watch. I want you to describe the color, let's say." And a lot of people would kind of pause and think about this. And then he would say, uh, "I want you to think about the digits on the watch. Are the digits numerals like 1, 2, 3? Are they Roman numerals? Are they just little dots, from 1 round to 12? What are they like?" And then describe the hands of the watch. Are they thick hands, or are there those little very slender hands? Are the hands the same color as the face of the watch? Or are they different color? And so on. And it turned out that in many, many cases, the students couldn't remember. And this was an interesting sort of exercise because the point is you wear the watch and they wore their watches every single day. And you look at your watch many, many, many times. But the whole point of this exercise really is, why are we looking? What is the point of it? And of course, what was happening was that when we look at watches, when we look for a purpose, and that purpose is to tell the time. Is it time for me to go home? Is it time for me to be somewhere, or whatever? You don't look at the watch necessarily to observe its visual qualities. Look at that golden color, or look at that black, or whatever it is. So the purpose of the exercise was to prove that we focus on things that matter to us at a certain time. So I extended this slightly more recently with a group I was teaching, and they were all adults. So when they arrived at this workshop, I said to them, "How many people drove here?" And I think virtually everyone drove to the center. And I said, "Well, can anybody tell me how many left turns you took on your way here, or how many right turns you took? And can anybody tell me how many times did you change gears in the car?" And we had a list of these sort of questions. And again, of course, few if anybody could give an answer. And it's exactly the same process, really. What it is that when these people were driving, they were driving for a purpose, which was to get to that place and to get to the right way to that place, down the right streets, the roads, and arrive there. That was the purpose of their concentration. It wasn't to take note of how many times they moved their left hand, or whatever it was. And really the result of all this is just how important it is to think about what we're looking for. And when it comes to us as artists, and when we're out there in the world looking around, or we place something, we have to be careful to think, what is it that I'm searching for? What information do I need? Because the problem is, very often we go out for a walk, let's say, and even if we go out for a walk with the purpose of finding a subject to paint or draw, we still tend to have a habit of, once we're out there, falling back into the routine of, well, I'm out here for some other reason. I'm out here to walk. And suddenly the mind switches to that mode, and you look at things in different ways. How do I get up that hill, and turn that way, and and whatever. And very soon the mind can also drift further, especially as you're walking along. It drifts into, oh, should I be, I maybe should call for the groceries on the way home, or I need petrol in the car. I must do that when I get back. And suddenly at the end of the walk, if someone like me came along and said, can you tell me what you saw? You might be very challenged to actually say, well, I saw this or that or the other. And that is the nature of the mind. But as artists, we have to be very disciplined. And getting ideas for paintings and drawings isn't just something that's handed on a plate. We have to go and search, but you can't search unless you target what it is you're looking for. So when you're out there, what I'm urging you to do is practice this focus and say to yourself, I'm here, I'm looking at colors. Look at those colors in that tree, or look at the movement in that grass. Stop for a minute, and this is literally an exercise to do. Stop somewhere for a minute. You don't even need to be outside. You could be sitting. I'm sitting here at the moment. I'm looking out of the window. Actually, I'm looking out to a terrible rainy storm, which you can probably hear possibly behind me, and the rain is lashing down in the window. But what I've just noticed is there's these fantastic patterns out there on the window with the rain stretching its way, rolling down. So I'm looking for visual excitement or stimulation that as an artist, that interests me. I'm not looking out going, gosh, what a terrible day. I'm not going out on a day like that. That's a different mindset. But you must continue to be focused that way. So an exercise is wherever you are, or whatever you're doing, if it's a walk or you're sitting in your seat now or whatever, looking around your room, take a minute, even if you might set it on your watch as a timer, I don't know, but take about a minute and look around the room, block as much as you can from your mind and look purely at the visuals. In other words, look at the curtains or the carpet or the door or the handle of the door, and look at what you see. What colors do you see? What reflections do you see? What's going on with the light on the side of the door or on that object there? There's maybe a newspaper. What's on that newspaper? How does the angle of the newspaper sit in relation to the seat? If you are looking outside of the window, look, what's the difference between outside and inside? Are the colors different out there compared to what's in here because of the light? Is it a rainy day like it is here now? And if so, what's that doing to how it looks? And do that give yourself a minute of that observation. In fact, it might even be you take 1 minute and you simply say, I'm going to look at one thing. Again, as I'm speaking to you, I'm glancing over towards the window, but below the window, there's a radiator. It's a white metal radiator. But I see scratches on it and I see patterns of old bits of paint that I've probably put on there. I could take a minute and look at that alone, observe it and make a record of all the things that I'm seeing to do with that radiator. And after a minute, try to recall them. Might be interesting to take a piece of paper and get down and write as many things, put them on paper. This is a form of drawing. This is, what we're doing here is seeing and recording, which is, you could say, is drawing, except we're not necessarily making a picture. We're just practicing the mind part of it, which is so important. And I can assure you, if you do this, and if you were to do this once a day, and then every time you go for walks or whatever, you will become a different sort of a creature, if you like. You'll be more inclined to automatically look, if you like, as the artist looks, and not walk along thinking of what I need to buy in the garage on the way home. So I will urge you to do that. Try it and see what happens. You will be amazed.